Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. We are proud to offer this series with funding from the Area Agency on Aging and the United Way of Tarrant County. These programs are recorded and are made available for viewing through a YouTube channel for future use. I am your host for today's activities. Our topic today is brought to you by the Amon Carter Museum of American Art, specifically by Peggy Spear, who is going to talk to us today and show us pictures of national parks. We look forward to this. Peggy, take it away.
Absolutely.
All right, let me see if I can get our screen going.
We see it.
All
Yep.
right. Whew. We're
Success.
heading in the right direction.
Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
well, today we're going to talk about national parks. And it's funny, I didn't even realize this until I got an email from American Airlines saying this week is National Parks Week.
Oh,
So,
really?
yes, so the country apparently is celebrating our national parks this week. Or you could fly for $90 and see some of these national parks on American Airlines.
Well, $99, that's cheap.
Yeah, I know. It was like $90 to LA, to Chicago, to Philadelphia, Miami. I was like, dang, there's some places out there.
Really?
Yeah. But $99 doesn't get you to Yosemite or Yellowstone. You have to find connecting
Yeah, they're like, we'll get
transportation.
you closer to where you need to
Closer,
go. But we're
that's
not
right,
getting you where
that's
you need
right.
to go. So today's this week's National Parks Week because tomorrow is Earth Day. So it
Earth
all.
Day, okay.
Yeah, Earth Day today, I think.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, my calendar is wrong.
When is Earth Day?
Okay, so we're going to look at, does anyone know, this is a trivia question, does anyone know how many national parks there are in the U.S.?
No.
I do not.
Any guesses?
89.
50.
What did you say, Don?
50.
I said 89.
Okay, and someone said 50. We're right in between, we're at 63
63. 53.
national parks. And I know some people have maps where they put little trees or little pins or what parks they've been to and national forests and things like that. So some of these, I selected some of the more popular parks, but there are so many that we have in our collection that are not in this presentation or aren't represented. So we're going to start first with this darling little Charlie Russell oil on canvas. So it's entitled, well, we titled it Lake McDonald. Any guesses on where, knowing who Charlie Russell was, any guesses on where this particular
Wyoming?
Yes.
Is
Or
it,
no, actually, no, it's not Wyoming. Close,
not
but
Wyoming,
not
okay.
Wyoming.
Montana?
Montana.
Okay.
Way to go, yeah. Montana. And he did spend a lot of time in Wyoming. So that was, my question was misleading. But yes, it's Montana. And any guesses on which national park this is in?
Glacier.
Glacier. Yeah.
Glacier, okay.
You guys are so smart.
I know. I figured this was
Got
a
all the answers.
pretty aware group of national parks. So
Glacier covers Wyoming and Montana.
mhm.
It's in
Yeah.
both states.
This particular lake is in on the Montana side, but it wasn't technically a national park at the time that this was created.
Yeah.
The first national park was established in 1916 by was it President Wilson? Yeah, Woodrow Wilson.
Yep.
And the first one was Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Yellowstone.
So,
Yeah.
This was before it was actually a national park, but is now on national park land. And this was a little cabin. He built himself a cabin just for himself to kind of get away. And he named it Bull's Head Lodge, which, if you can even see in this painting, can you see his signature down here? In the bottom.
Oh, my.
Oh, yeah.
And do you see right after he put CMR, Charlie M. Russell, Marion
Mhm.
Russell, you see a little bull's head?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of his signature.
It's,
And so he named the lodge after part of his signature.
related it.
And so this particular cabin overlooked what is Lake McDonald. And he invited so many artists or artists that he was friends with or caught wind of his cabin would often come and stay with him so they could go out and paint the beautiful land in that area. So what kind of things here are you seeing that are really enticing to any sort of artist?
Mountains.
Mountains.
I think the lake is very still.
Mhm.
Doesn't it look still? There's a little
Does.
movement though. Do you see?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a looks like a fish hit the surface, came to the surface right there. The circles.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little ripple. You've got the beautiful green
Yeah.
hills, the mountains. And at what time of day would you guess that this was painted?
Sunset.
Sunset or sunrise?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And why are you saying that, Yetta?
Because you can see the reddish there in the mountain,
Yeah.
as if the sun is reflecting.
Mhm. And any of you, I'm sure all of you have been camping or stayed at a cabin, that sun hitting the mountainside in the morning or in the evening is just, I mean, that's why you go. It's just so
Yeah.
beautiful. And so he's able to capture in what feels like a kind of quick painting for him. He's able to capture that almost fleeting moment of when the sun is coming or going.
Almost, it looked like at sunrise.
Sunrise, yeah.
And the reason is because in the middle there, right where your cursor is, it almost looks like a little bit of a mist or fog at the
Oh, right
base there.
here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
which you wouldn't have in the evening, but you would have in the morning.
absolutely.
Sure.
Good eye to that detail, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
And then what time of year might you guess this is?
Looks like fallish.
Fall?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can see there's some snow on the mountains.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's starting to get the snow cap, like it gets early in the season. And this was a summer cabin, so this might have been painted shortly before he then didn't visit until the following spring.
The farewell
But-
picture.
Say that again, Martha?
The farewell picture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
ju-
leaving
just-
on such a nice note. Wouldn't you want to keep looking at that throughout your cold winters in Montana?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you have to remember that at that time of the century that it wasn't just drive your car up to Montana. You had to plan to leave because it would take you days or weeks to get back to where it was warmer weather.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. That's
Either on
such a good point.
horseback or maybe they get to a certain point where they have wagons or something like that.
Mhm.
Good point.
Yeah, really good point. I know it's easy to think of how easily we can get to and from national parks nowadays, and how these weren't even national parks, so there was no federal funding in helping their lands or roads
Yeah.
or gondolas or anything like that. So a beautiful picture by Mr. Russell. We do not have this on view. I've actually never seen this one on view since I've worked here. So this is one of those gems that if it ever comes out, it would be a real treat to see.
Very pretty.
Now we're
Yellowstone.
going to another favorite park. And this one is
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. And this is Thomas Moran. And Thomas Moran was one of the primary artists, if not the primary artist, that created images of the West that really pushed the national government, the federal government, into creating these parks to protecting the land. So often Moran is called, or he'll sign things TYM, he'll put his little signature, Thomas Yellowstone Moran, because he's really credited towards helping make a case. And it's so much so attached to his name that's how he identified himself.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
And
see
he- and-
old
Oh, go ahead.
faithful. I see
Say that
old
again?
faithful here.
Oh,
Right.
so this is Crystal Geyser. So this is another, it's
Yeah.
not Old Faithful, but it's like the runner-up, so to speak, of
Yeah.
geysers. Has
This
anyone
one-
seen Old Faithful or Castle Geyser?
Yes.
Myra, cool. Was it just as awesome as you expected it to be?
It's was kind of overwhelming, yes.
Really awesome.
And what I was surprised at was the noise that it made when it went off.
Mm.
Very loud.
Yes. Kind of like that.
Now, I
So
do notice
here-
that there's people out walking really close to that geyser. So apparently there was no rules in effect that says stay back or you get cooked.
No, it was Wild West out there because you can see this was painted in 1886.
Mhm.
This didn't become a park until 1916. And when Moran went, he went in 1871, and he went with an exploratory group, an expedition. So he was out there for 40 days in that Yellowstone area, and he sketched 30 different sites.
Wow.
And then, so these people here are presumably other people on his expedition.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see people in 1886 on the picture.
They had to have been people that were with him. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
That's probably part of the
bumped in.
exploratory
True.
team. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I want to say, but don't hold me to it. I want to say that this was a German explorer that he was with, and the photographer William Henry Jackson was also with him during this trip as well, and he created many photographs that helped
That's a
push
nice
government
picture.
towards establishing the national park system.
Hmm.
Detail.
But do the clouds have a certain emotion you're feeling or create a certain vibe? Can you feel what that day might have felt like?
Just wild and,
Yeah.
gloomy, with the
Gloomy.
cloud, maybe even rain or thunder.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of heavy, those clouds feel heavy and damp.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he's using, it's a chromolithograph, so it's a print that he went back in and hand tinted. But he's able to really capture that, the clouds that maybe roll in the afternoon off the mountain and then clear on out. But, okay, so this is one, I think I have another picture from Yellowstone. So this is one from Yellowstone, and this is really, we won't have this image up, but some of Moran's other watercolors from this particular expedition will be on view later in the spring.
Okay.
So here's another
Ooh.
Yellowstone National Park favorite. Has anyone been to Emerald Spring?
Nope.
Mm-mm. That's
It
beautiful.
doesn't want to be on your list now that we've seen this image.
Mhm.
Let's get there. Let's go. So what are we seeing here? Does anyone know about Emerald Spring if you've not actually seen it?
I'm anxious to hear.
Actually, it's the only thing I know about is it's minerals that come up with the water that make it greenish colored.
You're exactly right,
Is
John.
that the sulfur?
Yes. So in this
Okay,
particular,
so yes, I have seen it then.
okay, and there's a few other ones that look like this within that we would be able to get to, and I can't remember their names, but Emerald Spring got its name because of the water is so pure blue, and then there were pockets of yellow sulfur along the rocks and towards the bottom, that when the sun hits the water, it creates this green color, and
The
hence
green.
the title Emerald Spring.
Hmm.
And so it's a hot spring, and you can see some of the steam coming off of the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Really look. And it goes 27 feet deep, really deep. And it gets up to 181 degrees.
Wow.
Hmm.
Mm.
That's something you want to take that's not a healing spa kind of thing.
No, that would burn your skin right off your face.
Yep.
So
181.
it depends on the time of year, it depends on the type of day, it depends on the type of activity that's happening within the basin that's nearby. But sometimes that water can change color just a little bit. It can look a little cloudy or murky. It can look like more blue than yellow. It really just kind of depends on the day, or more blue than green. But you are able to, and there's not much geyser activity that's happening here, but geyser activity that happens nearby impacts what's happening here. So if you ever go and visit it, it might not look exactly like this. And this particular company, Detroit Photographic Company, was really known for making postcards of natural things, kind of landmarky place things throughout the United States. And so this is an example of one of them. And they're using this process called photochrome, which was invented in Switzerland. This company used this, and it's sort of like a photolithograph where they're using a black and white negative. This is not a colored negative, a black and white negative on a lithographic stone. And then they're going back and they're tinting it with color on the lithographic stone.
Okay.
So it's really easy to do, apparently. I mean, that doesn't sound easy to me, but it allows manufacturers to mass produce. So they could produce thousands and thousands of these postcards for cheap and then sell them at, there might have been a gift shop close by later down the road, or
Later down the road, yeah.
Yeah, right, later down the road. Or people could mail away and get these postcards in the mail, that kind of thing.
I was just asking Myra about this, but she was saying that it smells like rotten eggs because of the
It
sulfur.
does.
The sulfur ones do. Yeah. I've not been to Yellowstone, so I have not seen any of these, but I can imagine, you're getting close when you start to smell the egg. But yeah, so this, with this particular group, the photographer I mentioned earlier, William Henry Jackson, that was with Moran, was asked to be brought on staff with this Detroit Photographic Company. And so while this photograph is not credited to him, it could have been anybody on staff, he did take several pictures of wonders throughout America that were then later turned into postcards. And then eventually this company, I want to say like in the 1930s, in between the wars and as war was starting to ramp up again, this company just liquidated its assets and it was no longer around. All right, we're switching gears. We're keeping to the west though. And we're looking at Mesa Verde. And this is a particular site within the park called Cliff Palace. Has anyone been to Cliff Palace?
Nope.
No.
This is one of the few national parks I've been to, and it is every bit as cool as you think it might be from looking at this photograph. So this is one of several sites. This particular park has different locations throughout of Anasazi American Indians that lived in rock dwellings. And so this particular one has a footpath you can take down, but some of the other ones we went to, you have to go down like a ladder made of trees. It's not for the faint of heart, but this one is more accessible and the most intact, largest cliff dwelling within that national park. So let's kind of talk about what we see. So this was made in 1906, which meant, like Don said, what? Not easy to get to.
No, absolutely not.
So do we know, looking at how this particular photograph is, do we know what people then were using this type of photograph for?
This looks like a stereo thing.
Correct. So you could be in the comfort of and safety of your own couch, but you're able to go back. You're able to go to, it's in the corner by Four Corners in Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah. So it's right there. It's about an hour south of Durango in Colorado. But you're able to now see these ruins without actually having to go on horseback through what I'm sure was not an established path at that point, because national parks had not deemed it a park yet. So nothing had been created for easy access. So this feels very matter of fact. Do you see any sort of artistic embellishment created, or do you think it's pretty much as you might see it?
Well, I don't see anything that looks like they could have faked it in a way or enhanced it.
Yeah, it's pretty crisp edges. It's not made to look soft or taken at a certain time of day where the lighting makes it moody. But you get a sense of what this site looks like. Oh, well, look, there are kivas here. Kivas are the holes that go in the ground where they would live underground. You see ladders, you see the multi-stairs. So you're able to kind of understand what this archaeological site looks like. Here is the same site, totally different mood.
Wow, yeah.
Mhm.
So what kind of impression does this artwork give you?
Well, it shows the overall structure of how it fits in with the environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
More remote.
right. You do not get that impression at all. You are just looking
No.
straight at the rock structures.
Can you actually walk around between all those ruins, or?
Yeah, they allow it, and they only allow, it's timed, and they only allow you with the park ranger, and there's only a certain amount of people that can go through a day to keep it as preserved as possible.
Okay.
Wow.
So when you're looking at it here, you like enter through there, like kind of back there, and then you kind of work your way around, and then you're outside the whole time, and then you walk into the path. So then you start on this side. So you start over here, and then you kind of weave your way through, and then there's a path that brings you right back up to the top.
Mm.
Oh, you have to be have some physical ability to walk around and climb stuff.
I mean, it's true. And they say if you have any heart conditions, or you're already at altitude, any sort of breathing situation, like they're not liable for anything that might happen to you, especially when you're going down the ladders. Some of them allow you to go down the ladders, and so you really have to be in a condition where you're strong enough, your lungs, both physically and your lungs. And then over here too, you can kind of see down in the lower left, there's a pathway across from it. So she seems to be at the top on the other side. You're in kind of like a little basin area, or like a valley type of trough area. And so even today still, you're able to walk on the other side, and you have a really nice vantage point of Cliff Palace across the way. But hers just seems more artistic. Here you feel like you're learning, oh, these are how the Anasazi people, the Hopi might have lived. Here, it feels you're true to Laura Gilpin, understanding that city within the larger context of nature. And that was her big thing, of how people and nature interacted together to create, or how they lived together, because nature really was the bigger presence, not the people. Whereas here, the people were the bigger presence, not nature.
Now, are they deep, these things? I guess they're houses.
Yeah, they go pretty deep. I'm not good with like, oh, it could have been 100 yards or it could have been 10. Like, I am the worst person to do that type of thing.
Okay,
But,
so they would have had houses and rooms below here?
Yes. So you can
Okay.
see, in terms, the palace, this is where everybody would have lived, but then you can see these holes.
Mm-hmm.
They're called kivas. And these ladders, there are longer ladders that would drop down, and it would be a hatched roof, straw typically. And that's where they would sleep, would live during the day, or excuse me, in the night. It would be warmer, they would be protected. And it was discreet. But of course, over time, because those roofs were not made with something like stone that would hold up, those roofs have disappeared. And it's very, very simple inside. I mean, you can see they would build benches right out of the wall of the earth or stone, and there would be a fire pit and maybe a room tucked in the, like I'm saying a room, it would be like the size of a closet almost, where people might sleep, or they might keep some things in there, pottery, stuff like that. But it was very, very simple. And then above, that's where they would do all of their cropping. All of their farming would be above.
Oh, okay.
And they were, you know, protected from other nomadic tribes that might find them. They were often at an advantage if things did go to war. So they, there was a lot of benefit to that type of living, to have it set in the rocks.
Yeah.
Folks, I gotta go.
Bye,
All right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Steve.
We'll see
Bye.
you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So we're switching gears to another national park, Grand Teton National Park. And this is taken right a little bit north of Jackson, Wyoming. Has anyone been to Grand Teton?
No.
Yes.
Myra's been all over that place.
I was gonna say, you must have hit up a lot of really good parks then. Have
We
you
had
been
a
able-
camper and traveled in the summer.
Oh,
that the
sweet.
summer's when you can do it, yeah. So did you camp anywhere near the Tetons?
Yeah, we camped in the campground.
Cool. Okay. Oh, you didn't do like backcountry or anything like that?
No.
Yeah, some of them are a little more lenient with backcountry camping, like Rocky Mountain National is really lenient with backcountry, but I know like places in Moab, that Arches National Park, it's a little harder. So I think it depends on the state of the park when you arrive. But this is a really beautiful photograph. What are you seeing?
Well, see the three main mountains that make up the I don't know what they call them, the Three Sisters or something. I don't remember if they call them that or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been to this park. I don't know. But yeah, you're seeing the summit. You're seeing peak of three major mountains on that chain. Does it look? What time of year does it look to be?
Summer.
Spring, summer,
Yeah, spring,
awfully
summer.
wet, as if a lot of snow has melted.
Mhm. Snow is
Very
melted
cold
and
water.
a
Yeah.
lot of water. Yeah. And everything is so lush and green.
Mhm.
This is when you'd want to do a lot of your White River rafting and things like that.
If you say so.
But I know, if you enjoy that type of thing, then
And Myra said that's where they went white water rafting.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, you did it there at Grand Teton?
Yeah.
Woo! And
I
you
thought
look
my mother
so
would
pale.
kill my father
Oh,
if she lived through the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm fine with some hiking. Just keep me off that raft. I'm okay. But Elliot Porter was, again, one of those photographers. We've seen so many different photographs from him, and nature really was his bailiwick. We've seen birds from him. We've seen churches from him, but he was really good at capturing the mood. And
We have not been in the Teton National Park, have we? Have we? I don't think so.
No.
Mm-mm.
Well, put it on your list. Maybe American can get you closer. Maybe American Airlines can fly you closer. Not there, but closer.
99
I
bucks.
think you can fly into Jackson Hole. I think you can actually do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And I feel like Jackson Hole more and more is kind of the secret of that city is coming out, because a lot of people from when I lived in Colorado, I lived there for several years, it was getting too urban. So people were moving out of Denver to
Oh, really?
Jackson Hole, to other places in Montana that still had that small mountain feel and weren't, but a city just as well. So I don't think Jackson Hole is quite like what it was in 1975, but beautiful
Well,
nonetheless.
in the wintertime, we like to watch, especially around Christmas, they have a webcam of the square in Jackson Hole. And you can actually see cars driving around the Christmas lights. And
Oh,
if it's
cool.
snowing, they're driving carefully. So it's really interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it is.
That's cool. I didn't know they do that. So if you were to do, because now Myra's done like every national park fun thing.
No, just the cluster here.
What did you prefer? The colder, more mountainous ones, or would you have preferred more of the Mesa Verde, more deserty type ones?
Then I preferred the mountains. Now I would prefer the mesa.
Okay. Yeah.
We do
warm
change,
weather.
don't we?
Say that again, Martha.
We do change, don't we?
Yes.
Mhm.
What would other people prefer? The mountainy, colder regions or the more deserty, flatter regions?
I always want to be warmer than cold.
Okay.
I would want to say yes to both.
Go
like it.
Don.
That's the best answer.
I've been in the northeast New Mexico, northeast New Mexico,
Okay.
camping in the mountains, and there was a desert area around it. And I've been up into the Rocky Mountains around Boulder
Uh-huh.
and that area. We actually went to our honeymoon in Estes Park. And
Oh,
then we
yeah. Beautiful.
went there again with our son years later.
Oh, how fun. Did you stay at the Stanley Inn or did you go camping?
Oh, no, we stayed at the Holiday Inn or something like
We
that.
Okay,
drove
yeah.
by the Stanley.
Yeah, we drove by the Stanley.
That place is a trip.
Summertime, the ski resorts there had to do something to make money, so they had these concrete culvert kind of things that you could get in a cart at the top, and it would just take you full speed down the mountainside. That was really quite fun.
And then now you're thinking about it, you're like, what was I thinking going down?
I know.
Lugging down a mountain with no helmet on.
No helmet, no protection whatsoever.
No
There's like a
seatbelt,
shopping
nothing.
cart, just like wishing you make it through.
Yeah.
Yeah. The times have changed in Estes Park.
Yeah.
Now it's like a liability waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that was it. So we were really looking at that Northwest cluster.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I guess South, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Montana, Colorado.
So this would be
Wyoming.
the eastern face of the Rockies.
Yeah. We're really, I mean, that's what's closest to us. Big Bend is really close to us. I'm sure some of you have taken trips down to Big Bend. We have Elliott Porter. We looked last week at a picture of Elliott Porter's of some cactus plants from Big Bend. So national parks have always, before they were even a thing, inspired, and they continue to inspire artists, painters, photographers, you name it. So next time you are on a trip and you hit a national park up, you've got to bring your watercolors or your camera, and make your own art. All right, gang. So that's all for this week. Next week we're back, and the theme is bodies of water. So we're going to be looking at oceans and rivers and the like.
Nice.
All right. Have a great rest of your
Thank
week.
you, Miss Peggy.
You too. Thank you.
Peggy.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Along.
Thank you, Miss Peggy. Okay. Well, what a day of going through the national parks, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes. Tomorrow, oh my goodness, the Fort Worth Opera, music, memory, and more. You may find something in your snail mail to give you an idea of what the information will be for tomorrow. I hope so. And we're going to have us another beautiful operatic day tomorrow.
Oh my word.
Yes, yes. And from here, why don't we stop the recording and move right on into Fifth Street Cafe? What do y'all say?
That sounds good.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
like a plan.